Chibbers, I salute you. That was genuinely one of the best episodes of Doctor Who in a long, long time. Yes, welcome back to Whovian Espresso, and today I'm very, very, very excited about this review because I loved Revolution of the Daleks. Like, a lot. I really did love this episode. That is what we're going to be reviewing today. I thought I would obviously, because it's the New Year's Day special 2021, which seems a bit crazy that we're finally out of 2020. Honestly though, that was something else. I didn't want to get my expectations too high. I'm going to do some spoiler thoughts, but I thought I'd give my brief non-spoiler thoughts. I didn't want to get my expectations too high, but wow, genuinely wow, I could not have been more pleased about this episode. It has been a roller coaster of an episode, both emotionally and just as an action-packed, fun thrill of a story, and really takes me back. And as I mentioned when the pictures were taken and stuff, and Jack was announced, it felt like event television. I think this was probably the most event television Doctor Who has felt, at least to me, since 2008. I mean, I got hyped about Doctor Who before, but like this, particularly in 2020, when everything's been a bit rough for everyone, I think this is the perfect episode and the perfect way to start the new year. I just felt, and a lot of people give the specials a sort of bit of a flack in the past for being too festive oriented, and this feels like the right kind of festive special that I want. One that does feel like, it feels like something you put at the end of the year, because at the start of the year, because it's an ending, but also a beginning of something new. And there's a massive, massive reveal at the end, and it's absolutely amazing. I have genuinely never been more excited for what is to come, and I think this is the peak. The defining moment of the Chibnall era that I think I've been wanting for a long time. I think I genuinely could not have been more pleased. I think the way everything was put together was so good. The opening few minutes was genuinely something else. I loved the way the story opened. I thought it went a bit astray, and then I think it picked right back up. And that ending, my god, that ending, it killed me. Okay, but yeah, that's about Captain Jack's involvement. Did feel a bit forced at points, but I don't care. It was amazing. I'm really glad they brought him back. I think it's nice that they did sort of do it as if it was natural that he'd just be part of this universe, because I feel like that's the way I kind of want Jack to be involved. I hope that's how he's involved in future episodes as well. So yeah, that's my sort of brief non-spoiler thoughts about Revolution of the Daleks. We could get into some spoilery stuff now. So now we are going to move into spoiler territory. So if you have not yet seen Revolution of the Daleks, I would recommend that you do so, because it is one of my favourite episodes of this. Well, it is my favourite episode of the year. I'm going to go ahead and say it. But I would definitely recommend that you go watch it like right now, because particularly this one, I think there's going to be a lot of spoilers online. It's pretty spoiler heavy. There's a lot going on in it. But yeah, we're going to talk about my spoiler thoughts about the characters, and then we're going to talk about the other elements. So let's start off with the Doctor. Jodie Whittaker. Oh my god, Jodie really, really is proving herself as the Doctor. Like, I think particularly in lockdown, rewatching her episodes, I think they're very comforting episodes, and something that you really appreciate in lockdown. And I think this one was just I like the way they sort of mimicked the whole lockdown and idea of being isolated, with Jodie obviously being in prison. Obviously she didn't know when they filmed it, so it's sort of a serendipitous of a account, isn't it, I suppose. But I really loved what they did with her character and having to her guilt for leaving them behind for 10 months, the companions, the fam. I really felt that was a really strong element of the story, and it gave the Doctor that depth that I think Jodie has been definitely searching for. And I think it really did add to her character. And I think, again, I keep talking about this being the defining episode of the Chibnall era. I think her recovering from the timeless children and that whole idea of her past not being what she thinks it is going to be a really key point going forward. I think it's really exciting. I'm really interested to see what Jodie brings to the role in future. I loved the scenes of her in the prison and the way that Jack broke her out. I mean, I called that, actually. I think I called that she'd get broken out of prison by Jack. So I don't know if I called it online or anything, so there's no way I can prove that, but I did subconsciously think, oh, Jack's going to break them out of prison or whatever. But I'm glad that I did think that, because it's what happened. That's the bit that I kind of was a bit like, I'm not sure if this sort of worked, because I felt like they had a lot of potential with her in prison, and they sort of got her out of it really quickly, which I thought was a bit of a cop-out, but that's the only thing that I actually thought I didn't really think was that bad, so I can forgive it for that, because the rest of what followed was just so good, honestly, in my opinion. So much drama. It was amazing. But yeah, I loved the scenes of her in the prison, and it gets 10 out of 10 straight away just for having the pating in it. And I remember everyone remarking that all the markings of the woman that she had a silent in. I love that we got cameo from the silent, almost as if they probably knew people were going to say that. And I love the line where she said, "Oh, I forgot you were here." I was like, yeah, of course, it's the silent. And of course the weeping angel and everything. I love those cameos. I wish we could have spent more time with the pating, but that's just me. But yeah, I loved her interactions with all the companions. I really loved her interactions with Jack. I thought she had a great chemistry with Jack. I kind of got what I would have expected if Matt Smith had met Captain Jack. So I think that's kind of nice. I think it really worked. I think they really had a good relationship. And you could tell that there was sort of a depth to their relationship as well, and that they'd known each other a while, particularly in the way Jack speaks of the Doctor. I think that was a very nice sort of touch as well. Okay, moving on, we're going to talk about Graham O'Brien. Now, I do think that Graham was probably the weakest one of this one, but I do kind of feel like a lot of the emotional story for Graham was over. I did love that he chose to be with Ryan at the end of it. I really was pleased that he chose to do that, because I don't think he could have carried on travelling with the Doctor without Ryan. I really loved the final scene with them on the hill from the very first episode, almost bringing the story full circle. I loved that they brought it full circle. It really, really was beautiful. And I loved that they brought back Grace for a final cameo, although I think it was probably really stock footage. But that moment where she's like watching on at them, and I'm just like, no, that's so sad. It was really, really touching, and I really loved that final scene that they chose to be together. I really loved that. I really did. I think Graham and Ryan's relationship is actually one of the better ones of the show's history, in my opinion. I really love how they've come together over the course of the 2 seasons they've been together, and I really couldn't associate one without the other. I don't think you could have Ryan in the TARDIS without Graham, or Graham in the TARDIS without Ryan. So yeah, I think it's really sweet that they went off together, and I loved that final scene. And obviously the hint with the psychic papers. I love that was the little parting gift the Doctor gave them, of the little psychic papers, and that they could. I really love the idea of them having the companions go off and do a spin-off series. I really love that idea. I really hope they do something with it, because like last time everyone thought there'd be a spin-off series, there never was, because sadly the Paternoster gang never got one, but that would have been good. But please, I know someone put up a tweet saying, would you like a spin-off series with Ryan? And I was like, I thought it was a bit of a joke, but actually watching that episode, watching Revolution of the Daleks, I would kill for a spin-off series with Graham and Ryan. I really would. It sounds like such a great idea to me. So yeah, not much to do throughout the episode, but when it came to his moment, Bradley Walsh delivered really a lot. Okay, moving on, we're going to talk about Graham O'Brien. Now, I do think that Graham was probably the weakest one of this one, but I do kind of feel like a lot of the emotional story for Graham was over. I did love that he chose to be with Ryan at the end of it. I really was pleased that he chose to do that, because I don't think he could have carried on travelling with the Doctor without Ryan. I really loved the final scene with them on the hill from the very first episode, almost bringing the story full circle. I loved that they brought it full circle. It really, really was beautiful. And I loved that they brought back Grace for a final cameo, although I think it was probably really stock footage. But that moment where she's like watching on at them, and I'm just like, no, that's so sad. It was really, really touching, and I really loved that final scene that they chose to be together. I really loved that. I really did. I think Graham and Ryan's relationship is actually one of the better ones of the show's history, in my opinion. I really love how they've come together over the course of the 2 seasons they've been together, and I really couldn't associate one without the other. I don't think you could have Ryan in the TARDIS without Graham, or Graham in the TARDIS without Ryan. So yeah, I think it's really sweet that they went off together, and I loved that final scene. And obviously the hint with the psychic papers. I love that was the little parting gift the Doctor gave them, of the little psychic papers, and that they could... I really love the idea of them having the companions go off and do a spin-off series. I really love that idea. I really hope they do something with it, because like last time everyone thought there'd be a spin-off series, there never was, because sadly the Paternoster gang never got one, but that would have been good. But please, I know someone put up a tweet saying, would you like a spin-off series with Ryan? And I was like, I thought it was a bit of a joke, but actually watching that episode, watching Revolution of the Daleks, I would kill for a spin-off series with Graham and Ryan. I really would. It sounds like such a great idea to me. So yeah, not much to do throughout the episode, but when it came to his moment, Bradley Walsh delivered really a lot. I really feel Ryan especially has come a long way since The Woman Who Failed to Earth, and I love that he's come that far, and I think he's really progressed nicely as a character, at least in my opinion. As it's Yaz time, yes. Yaz, oh my god. These companions really, really proved themselves, and I really think that they did have the potential, and I think I was proved right here that they had that potential, because Chris Chibnall really gave us all into characterization in this story. I think the way he characterized these characters throughout this story was really, really good. And I was like, I genuinely can't believe it's Chris Chibnall who said this, because like, I mean, I have come a long way to appreciating Chris Chibnall's writing a lot more, but I have always felt that I think he never uses his companions to their full ability and their full sort of, I don't know, what the word, I've lost the word. The words would be something like potential, that's it, potential. Don't know why that word slipped my mind for a minute there, but I really felt he hadn't used them to his potential, but boy, do I have massive hopes for Series 13 that he can really realise Yaz as a character. Because particularly the scene with him, with Jack and Yaz, I really loved that scene. And that scene about Jack talking to Yaz about how you can't choose when the Doctor leaves you. I mean, I did say, well, about Tegan, she chose when she left, didn't she? But yeah, I think, particularly from Jack's point of view, it made sense to include him because of that, actually. And because of the way she reacted to being left behind, I really, really felt for her, because she saw the universe, and she saw, I think, more than any of the three of them, I think she really loved it in the way that I don't think Graham or Ryan ever did. Although I think Graham enjoyed it, I think he was running away from home and his sort of grief, and Ryan was sort of wanting to get a better life, but also I think Ryan realised he didn't want to necessarily leave his friends behind. But yeah, she's running to the stars. She's running to be with the Doctor. I can tell actually that maybe there is some validity to Thasmin, because I think she does feel like the Doctor betrayed her in leaving her behind. That scene where she just punches the Doctor after that, because she's been through a lot. You can clearly tell when she's living in the TARDIS she's been through a lot without the Doctor. So I think she really does care for the Doctor. And honestly, I would maybe support Thasmin, because I think that would actually be a natural progression of this, from feeling, because I feel like you only feel that way, feel hurt by being left behind if you truly love them. And I think that's potentially what they might be hinting at there. At least that's the way I see it. I know a lot of people are against Thasmin. I don't really know why, but that's the way it is, I suppose. But, I mean, I can see it going either way. I think we'll have to wait and see what happens with Series 13. But the final scene where she's like, oh yes, I scored Yaz, the Doctor scored Yaz, was like, they're not they're sort of treating them like pets. The way I saw it is like, or like she won them or something, is the way I saw that, which it seemed a bit odd. But I think the way the Doctor delivered the line, half sad, one heart sad and one heart happy, it killed me, honestly. But yeah, that's Yaz. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they bring to the table in Series 13. I genuinely can't wait. It's going to be great. I really, really think she's going to be amazing. Okay, it's time to talk about the one, the only Captain Jack Harkness. And whoa. I mean, I really, really, really am glad that they brought Jack back. I do think he feels a bit like window dressing in a sense that I feel like he was designed to draw people into the episode. But God, am I glad he's back. He's so good. John Barrowman is like an amazing actor. I really love what he brings to the role of Captain Jack. He's just got such a quirkiness to him that I don't think any other Doctor Who companion really... I feel like Stephen Moffat tried to pull another Captain Jack by releasing River Song, or creating River Song rather, as a character, and I don't think it really worked in the same way that Captain Jack did. I think Captain Jack is entirely unique in that I feel like he could, although I think he's on par with the Brigadier, in the sense that I think he could pop up in, say, I don't know, the 20th anniversary special, and we'd be like, yes, Captain Jack is back, and he could pop up in like season, I don't know, 26, and we'd be all like, Series 26 rather, and we'd be like, yes, Captain Jack is back. And then obviously, hopefully he wouldn't be in the final season, obviously, but I feel like he has that same character to him and the same familiarity with both the general public and Doctor Who fans, through Torchwood, obviously. I am absolutely ecstatic that he referenced Gwen Cooper at the end, saying he's going to stay on Earth for a bit with Gwen. I was like, oh my god, oh my fucking god, if you'll forgive the foul language. But, oh my god, please, Chibnall, I beg you, bring back Torchwood. The idea that he said that at the end, that I was like, he's going to stay at home with Gwen, I was like, oh my god, please, bring back Torchwood, please. I really loved that. I felt like he wasn't necessarily given the most amount to do that I would have liked. He did feel like he was just there a bit, as I mentioned, for window dressing. But, like, I think he has some great moments with Yaz, and I think he's there to serve more of a character sort of thing about warning the characters of how perhaps one day the Doctor will leave them. I did think that was an interesting way to use him. I think it made sense why they brought him back in a way, even if I did feel like it was just for window dressing. But I'm just glad that Jack's back, because he's amazing, and he's one of the best characters, at least of the modern era. So yeah, I was absolutely ecstatic that he came back. And I think he had some great interactions with all the companions. I love the Silver Fox line that he had when he saw Graham. And I just loved everything he did, really. I think he was just great. And I really hope we get to see him more in the future. And now on to the Daleks. Now, the Daleks, there's sort of a lot going on with the Daleks, actually, in this story. I don't think they were necessarily the main story, though. I think that they were sort of a side story, while the emotional drama of the companions leaving, which was executed really well. I think the balance worked with the Dalek story and the emotional plotline as well. I think it balanced very well. I also love the story that the Daleks do get. I like the idea of the political satire of them being used as defense drones. I think that was really it was interesting seeing it in the context of all the Hong Kong attacks and stuff in recent memory. So that was an interesting bit of political satire. I liked that they went that far. It was very Russell T Davies-esque. I think it was an interesting sort of story plot to have for them. And it's quite an iconic image, having a Dalek in front of Downing Street. I think that's something we could all bear in mind in future. But that and the storyline about the Daleks sort of growing, being cloned by that Leo character, that was a great sort of subplot. I love the idea of the Daleks cloning themselves and then the sort of actual Daleks coming in and sort of destroying the Daleks that are deemed impure. I think that's a nice touch there. I'm kind of disappointed they weren't sort of actual humans as Daleks, but I feel like the last time they did that, it didn't really work so well. So I did like that they probably didn't go that way, to be honest. But yeah, I really loved that aspect of the story. I love how creepy these Daleks are. My God, the tentacle squids, when they're out of their shell, they're genuinely really terrifying. And I mean, like, particularly with the new CGI budget with the spiders, I mean, every time something like that comes on, I'm shivering. It's freaking terrifying. It's genuinely incredibly, like, really spooky. And when they jumped on Jack's face, I was like, oh no, oh my God, it's really well directed and shot. It's that tense. And the tense sort of increasing of the light, and you just talk about the UV light, and the way that sort of tensely increases. I really love that scene. I love that setup of the Dalek mutants growing, and the idea that that scientist grew that sort of that Dalek from scratch was really good. I loved that they did that. So yeah, the Daleks were all really well written here. I think Chibnall has really got a hand on bringing back monsters like the Cybermen and the Solarians, he brought back quite well, and the Daleks, he's really got a grasp for the Daleks. So I'd love to see him bring more villains. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does with the Sontar. I won't say that on camera because that's been filming photos, but there are some monsters that have been seen on camera. I'm sure you could probably guess just from what I just said, but that I've been seen filming. I didn't want to mention it because it's technically not been announced, but I hope that he does something well with them. So yeah, I loved his way that he dealt with the Daleks. It's really well done. And I love that it connected to Resolution. I thought it was a nice sort of add-on as well, and having that clip show at the start as well was a really nice touch. So, some general sort of wrapping up thoughts before we get on to the exciting announcement at the end there. I really did love this episode. I loved the way that the Daleks were incorporated into it. I loved the stuff in the prison. I really, really adored the opening 10 minutes of this story. It was just such a fun romp, and genuinely something that I really wanted that Doctor Who to do for a long time. I just loved the way that it was written. The music, I really cannot wait for the soundtrack to come out. I loved the scene at the start with Robertson and I can't remember, the PM, and the idea of them staging the sort of fake protest, I guess, was really, really, like, powerful, like, opening. It was really intense and really well shot, and I thought that was a really interesting political point for them to make, because I know the Doctor Who gets annoyed, a lot of people complain at it being so sort of preachy and stuff, but I think this was done really subtly, and I thought it was done really well as well. So yeah, I loved that scene with Robertson and the PM sort of watching over that. I thought it was really impressive, this opening scene. I really loved that the scale of the episode, how popping from international location to international location with those lovely titles, which I really liked actually. I liked the colour of them. And I loved the opening gag a long time ago, Far, Far Away. I loved that. That was a great gag. I loved the sort of Star Wars reference there. It was just a fun episode and just a really emotional episode at the same time. And it's just sort of encapsulates 2020, particularly for me, as I do feel like I've had a lot of fun with people on the internet over the last 12 months, but also a lot of emotion was running high, I think, for everyone as tension builded up around us. So I think in a way it is the perfect ending to 2020 and a chapter of Doctor Who, and not only Doctor Who but of the world, I think, in a way. I think it really brings hope for what's to come, particularly with the announcement at the end. So yeah, I really, really did love this episode. So I'm going to give it I want to give it a 10 out of 10, but I do have some grievances, so I am going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. Because, I mean, it is very close to being perfect. I mean, I would have just basically... I really, really do love a lot of the scenes. And I really do want to give it a 10. And maybe I will just give it a 10. But I did love it a lot. I really did. I loved all the cameos and everything. I felt the fan service was nicely balanced with the plot and everything. So I'm going to forgive it for maybe getting Jodie out of prison too soon. So I will give it a 10 out of 10. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the episode. But now we have to give my thoughts on the very quick sneaky announcement at the end. So yes, I haven't actually looked this up, but I am assuming that this is what it means. They attached a scene on the end where they announced that John Bishop will be joining the cast of Doctor Who. They didn't actually say his character's name. I'm presuming that he is a future companion. They obviously say this is horoscope for 2021 that he's going to meet a new friend, and I think that's definitely going to be the Doctor and Yaz. So I'm very much looking forward to that. John Bishop. I don't really know much about John Bishop, but he looked like a really exciting addition to the cast. He's been spotted on set, so we know for sure he's definitely in it. I am hoping that he is a new companion. I mean, I'm really excited to see what he brings to the role, and what kind of companion he will be. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see what he brings in 2021, and I cannot wait for Series 13. I've genuinely never been more hyped. I really feel like there is something special coming soon. So yeah, that was my review of Revolution of the Daleks, and of course that sneaky little announcement at the end, and I'm so pleased we got that. I was so hoping we'd get something like at the end about Series 13, because it's obviously in production, so I'm just glad. I'm guessing that's the scene that was filmed to add it on the end of the episode that was sort of leaked, I think, or something. But yeah, that is my thoughts on Revolution of the Daleks. Let me know your thoughts down below on the episode. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Please don't be too negative, or too... Be reasonable. Give your honest opinion. I mean, don't just be like yada 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 because Chibnall. But yeah, be constructive. But yeah, that's my review of Revolution of the Daleks. Thank you for watching. A very happy new year to all of you at home. And thanks, and goodbye.